Hi everyone, welcome back to C programming tutorial series. In my last video I have completed the discussion on what is loops and what is the purpose of using loops and what are the advantages of using loops in programming. If you guys have not seen that video, then I just recommend you guys to watch that video which I have made on what is loops and what is the purpose of loops. And in today's video I'm going to discuss about entry control loop, which is also called as pre-test loop, and also we'll discuss exit control loop, which is also called as post-test loop. So these are two types of loops. So this is what we will be going to discuss in this video. Okay, so before starting this video I just want to tell you guys that if you guys like this video, click on like button, share it with your friends, don't forget to subscribe to this channel, and if you guys have any questions then let me know in the comment section. Now let us start our discussion on these two types of loops. Let us first discuss entry controlled loop or pre-test loop. With the name itself you guys might have understood this concept. Entry controlled loop, at the time of entry itself the condition gets tested. That's what the meaning of pre-test loop. So at the beginning itself the condition gets checked. If that condition gets satisfied, then the control will come inside the body of the loop, and then the statements present under the body will get executed, and then those statements will get executed repeatedly again and again until some specific condition gets satisfied. Now let us see this. Okay, the control conditions are tested before the start of the loop execution. If the conditions are not satisfied, then the body of the loop will not be executed. That's what I told you. Okay, so here I have drawn the flow diagram of entry controlled loop. Okay, so this is the entry, and from the entry the control will come to condition to check for the condition. If this condition gets satisfied, then control will come to execute body of the loop. So as you can clearly see here, if this condition gets satisfied, then control will come under the body of the loop and the statements present under the body gets executed. Then control again come back to condition. Then if that condition gets true, then again control come inside the body of the loop to execute the set of statements, and then again go back to the condition. Like this process will be keep on continue until the condition becomes false. The moment when this condition becomes false, then control will not come under the body of the loop, then control will come outside of the body of the loop. So in this diagram you can clearly see the condition is getting tested first. That's why it has been called as pre-test. Once the condition is been tested, then the statements are getting executed. This way of writing down the loop or executing the program using loops is called as entry controlled loop or pre-test loop. Next we have exit control loop or post-test loop. So in this approach the body of the loop gets executed first and then the condition gets tested. That is what post-test. The test is performed at the end of the body of the loop, and therefore the body is executed unconditionally for the first time. So here, unlike pre-test loop, first the body of the loop or some set of statements present under the body of the loop gets executed, then the control will come to the condition where the condition gets evaluated. If this condition becomes false, then control go back to the entry part. So in this type of loop the condition gets executed later. Before executing the condition, the body of the loop gets executed. Okay, so I hope both of these entry control loop and exit control loop concepts are clear to you. Okay, now we will move ahead to discuss the examples of entry control loop and exit controlled loop. So decision process in general would include the following 4 steps. Okay, so here we will talk about what is the structure of loops. The first one is setting and initialization of a condition variable. Okay, so with the help of this example I will try to make you understand. So now the condition variable is I here. So whenever we will be using for loop or any type of loop, whether it is a for or while or do while, so first we need to set and initialize the condition variable. So in this case I is our conditional variable and we are setting and initializing some initial value to this condition variable which is 0. So I am initializing value 0 to I. Okay, next is execution of the statements in the loop. Once the value gets initialized to condition variable, then the condition gets checked. If this condition becomes true, then this statement gets executed, sum equals to sum plus I. Okay, so this is the inner part of the loop. That's what the second point is saying, execution of the statements in the loop. Test for a specified value of the condition variable for execution of the loop. So once this statement gets executed, the control go back to for, where the value of I gets incremented by 1. Now the value of I becomes 1, and for the value of I equals to 1, again the condition gets checked whether I is less than 6 or 1 is less than 6. Yes, condition becomes true, then this statement gets executed. Like this, every time with each and every iteration the value of I gets incremented by 1, and until and unless this condition becomes false, this inner statement gets executed. Once this condition becomes false, suppose the value of I after incrementing 1 by 1 becomes 6. So the condition gets checked here for the value of I equals to 6. 6 is less than 6? No, condition becomes false. That's why the inner loop will not get executed and control will come out from the loop. Next, incrementing or updating the condition variable. That's what I already told you. Okay, now let us try to understand how you can write the C code for both the entry control loop and exit control loop. Okay, and what difference you may observe, we will try to see this with the help of these two examples. Okay, so these two examples are to find the sum of 6 numbers like 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in these two examples I am trying to make the sum of numbers from 0 to 5. Okay, so here I have included the header files and then void main. Then I have declared two variables of type integer, sum equals to 0 and I. Then here I am starting a for loop with the initial value of 0, I equals to 0, because I want to make the sum with the initial value of 0, and I is less than 6. Now I value is 0, 0 is less than 6, is condition true. Then control come on inside the for loop to perform this statement. Sum equals to sum plus I. Sum value is 0 initially, so 0 plus I value is 0, 0 plus 0, 0, and now sum becomes 0. Then control will come to this incrementing part or updating part. Now I plus plus, that means earlier I was 0, now after incrementing I becomes 1. So for the value of I equals to 1, again the for loop gets executed. Now I equals to 1, 1 is less than 6, yes, condition true. If condition true, control comes inside the for loop to execute this statement. Sum equals to, in the earlier iteration sum was 0 and I is 1 in this iteration. Okay, so sum is 0, 0 plus I is 1, so 0 plus 1, 1, so sum becomes 1. Then control comes to this I plus plus. Now I value becomes 2. Okay, for the value of I equals to 2, again for loop gets executed. I equals to 2, 2 is less than 6, yes, condition true. Okay, if this condition becomes true, then inner statement gets executed, sum equals to sum plus I. In the earlier iteration sum was 1, so 1 plus, in this iteration I is 2, so 1 plus 2 becomes 3, and now sum becomes 3. Like this I gets incremented by 1 with each iteration. Okay, so here in this example, now you can see this condition is getting executed first, and then this statement is getting executed. If this condition becomes true, then only this statement is getting executed. That means prior executing this statement, condition is getting executed. That's why it is called as pre-test loop or entry control loop. At the time of entry itself, the condition is getting satisfied or tested. That's why it is called as entry control loop. Next is exit control loop. Okay, so here you can see, as I already told you, in the case of exit control loop, the condition gets checked or tested at the end. Okay, so I have declared two variables, sum and I. I have initialized the value of 1 to I and 0 to sum. Then here I am using do while loop. So since I have used do while, the statements gets executed first. Once these two statements gets executed, then it will go for checking the condition. I value is 1. Okay, so with the value of I equals to 1, the these two statements gets executed, then value of I, which is 1, gets matched with 6. 1 is less than 6, yes, condition becomes true. Then again it will come inside the do and execute these two statements, then it will increment the value of I by 1. So what does this mean is, in exit control loop, while exiting the control from this do while, it will check for the condition. Okay, that's why it is called as exit control loop or post test loop. Okay, I'm sure this concept of entry control and exit control loop is very well clear to you. Okay, so that's all for this video, guys. In my next video I will be going to discuss on some other topic. Okay, so if you guys like this video, click on like button, share it with your friends, don't forget to subscribe to our channel, and if you guys have any questions, then let me know in the comment section.